is the perfect example of that. It's clean, safe, orderly, futuristic, functional.
I will say the public transport here is really, really good. So one thing that's blowing me away about Seoul is how clean and organized they are with like everything, whether it's skincare or like clothing or something of tech. If it's made in Korea, I will probably trust it more.
The highways that are feeding into it had the most comprehensive bus network that I've ever seen in a city, and it even made some of the Chinese networks that I've seen legitimately a mind-altering experience. I somehow didn't even consider that this was an option. I have to say it was even more impressive than I imagined. From a really good East Asian metro system. There are modern, clean trains that run on time, there are great stations with AC and platform screen doors, there are excellent wayfinding systems, etc. But on top of these, there are also a few clear highlights. Legitimately a mind-altering experience. I somehow didn't even consider that this was an option.
서울 지하철 노선도를 손가락으로 따라가던 한 유럽인이 갑자기 말을 멈춥니다. 그리고 잠시 뒤 이런 말을 꺼내는데요. 이건 사람의 인식 자체를 바꿔놓는 경험이라고. 지도 한 장을 들여다보다 나온 말이었습니다. 비슷한 시기 서울의 한 시장. 골목에서는 미국인 부부가 종이컵 하나를 손에 들고 천재적이라는 단어를 내뱉습니다. 오늘 우리가 따라갈 사람은 두 팀입니다. 미국에서 온 부부, 그리고 헝가리에서 온 테크 전문가 팀입니다. 관심사도 목적도 완전히 달랐던 이 네 사람이 서울에서 무엇을 보았는지 지금 바로 함께 하시죠. 먼저 미국인 부부입니다. 나단과 올리비아. 여행 유튜버로 5년 넘게 세계를 떠돌며 150개가 넘는 침대에서 잠을 자본 사람들인데요. 이제 웬만한 나라에서는 놀랄 일도 없다던 두 사람이 서울에 도착하자마자 카메라 앞에서 조금 이상한 다짐을 합니다. 그런데 이 부부가 한국에서 가장 먼저 배운 건 유명 관광지도 맛집 이름도 아니었습니다.
Seoul, South Korea for the next few weeks. We're going to stay open-minded and try our best to assimilate and become as Korean as possible. I think we're doing pretty well.
감사합니다.
안녕하세요.
건배.
And making sure to follow all the rules. We're putting our trash in the right trash bags and our trash bags in the right trash bins on the right trash days. We're taking our shoes off at the door and putting our house slippers on. We're paying with two hands and pouring with two hands. I've upped my skincare game, but I haven't dabbled in the men's makeup yet.
Because I'm not Prince.
We're still getting used to using metal chopsticks and our fridge smelling like kimchi. But this week is when the real exploring begins, and we're venturing to do and try anything and everything, especially all the delicious food.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can't eat with these things on your face, bro.
정해진 봉투에 담아서 정해진 날에 정해진 통에. 한국인에게는 그저 일요일 밤의 귀찮은 숙제일 뿐인 분리수거가 이 부부에게는 하나의 문화 체험이었습니다. 2025년 한 해 동안 한국을 찾은 외국인 관광객은 1,894만 명이었습니다. 코로나 이전 최고 기록이었던 2019년의 1,750만 명을 훌쩍 넘어선 역대 최대치죠. 이 가운데 미국에서 온 관광객만 148만 명이었습니다. 그렇게 며칠 보낸 뒤 나다는 카메라를 켜고 서울이라는 도시를 자기 나름의 언어로 정리하기 시작합니다.
South Korea is a very organized, structured country, and Seoul, being its capital and biggest city, is the perfect example of that. It's clean, safe, orderly, futuristic, functional, has great food, great coffee shops, tons of neighborhoods to explore. But for a lot of foreigners, there are some things that at first glance can come off as a bit challenging to navigate or even be off-putting. Respect and discipline are built into their culture, and as outsiders, we really wanted to make sure not to make any big cultural faux pas. Everyone seems to be on a mission here, in their own world. Not a lot of people smile, some people stare. On trains, everyone is glued to their phones. And while the quality of life is very high and things run very smoothly, the people of Seoul have to work insanely hard to be able to enjoy it. Cost of living.
깨끗하고 안전하고 질서정연하고 미래적이고 무엇보다 제대로 작동하는 도시. 몇 주를 살아본 미국인이 서울에 붙인 5개의 수식어였습니다. 그리고 본격적인 탐험의 첫 무대로 이들이 고른 곳은 명동이었습니다.
We made it to Myeongdong, and this is where they have the night market, the famous night market. There's so many different stands and just crowds of people. The lights Looks so cool, the different signs and whatnot. You ready to walk around?
Hell yeah. This is Shopping Haven, dude. We're about to get a spend on.
There's so many shops here, so many different skincare brands and little cutesy shops. Like you can go in and get like little plush toy for your purse. Or like this shop right here, you can buy an outfit, an entire outfit for your dog.
For your canine, dude.
Look how cute these are. Are you kidding
Traditional
me?
handbook for your dog.
간판, 조명, 그리고 사람. 명동에서 이 부부를 가장 먼저 압도한 건 물건이 아니라 밀도였습니다. 그런데 계단을 따라 지하로 내려간 순간 두 사람이 표정이 또 한 번 바뀝니다.
Yeah, you could just spend hours here shopping. Skincare, I feel like I don't need to load up on, but came up on some Korean skincare, discounted, dude. Is there anything specific you're like really wanting while you're in Korea? Like to take
Honestly,
advantage of?
I've been really impressed by their clothing options, so I definitely have a few clothing items. The quality is really good and the prices are, I think, very affordable.
We just ducked down into the underground shopping center here in Myeongdong. Yeah, there's some crazy deals in here. I feel like this is a really good place to come shopping. Like you're seeing a lot of jeans and whatnot for like $8 to $10 and tops for similar price, I think. Girls are going wild in here.
High quality linen.
We found a caricature place. These have gotten really popular in Seoul recently. Oh, this guy just got his.
Pretty good, dude.
Another strange thing. This
청바지 한 벌에 $8, 상의도 비슷한 가격. 우리 돈으로 10,000원 조금 넘는 가격표 앞에서 부부는 한동안 발걸음을 떼지 못합니다. 미국에서 이 정도 품질의 옷을 사려면 최소 서너 배는 각오해야 하니까요. 그런데 이건 단순히 한국이 싸다는 이야기가 아닙니다. 같은 돈으로 훨씬 더 좋은 물건을 손에 쥘 수 있다는 뜻이었죠. 그리고 쇼핑을 마치고 지상으로 올라온 순간 명동의 진짜 시간이 시작되고 있었습니다.
Myeongdong has got it all. They got the shopping and the street food combined. You can literally pop into a store, do your shopping for a little, 20, 30 minutes, come back out and get whatever the heck you want to eat. But if you want squid, if you want egg toast, cheese coins, japchae, kimbap, fried little crabs, calamari, coconut shrimp, potato chips on a stick, cheese on lobster, mochi, takoyaki, fish cakes, wagyu beef, meat skewers, sugar-covered fruit that'll break your jaw. They got it all.
excited to try this. This has been like very viral on TikTok and other social media. This is a Chinese dessert. It's essentially just fruit. We got strawberries, grape, and mandarin that they've just dipped in like super hot sugar syrup and then it hardens.
메뉴판이 따로 필요 없는 야외 뷔페. 우리에게는 퇴근길에 하나씩 집어드는 흔한 간식이지만 이 부부에게는 밤마다 새로운 나라를 하나씩 발견하는 일이었습니다. 다음 날 두 사람이 향한 곳은 익선동이었는데요. 이미 오전에 북촌 한옥마을을 다녀온 뒤였습니다. 같은 한옥인데도 두 마을이 남긴 인상은 완전히 달랐습니다. 과연 이 부부의 마음은 어느 쪽으로 기울었을까요?
Walked by Jeso and we saw this guy like making mochis in the window and he's basically just taking these little mandarins and he's covering them with rice mochi. So we're like, all right, we gotta get one. 10 times better than we expected. Wow. Oh my god. The mandarin is like so sweet and then there's this layer of like citrus cream or something. Oh my god, that's so good.
Whereas here in Ikseondong, it's very narrow, lots of alleyways with restaurants and stores. And honestly, just a lot more to do here, I feel like.
Yeah.
I prefer it already. Different from an aesthetic, visual standpoint. Bukchon, the rooftops were stunning. I love that aspect of it. Here, it's a lot more of a kind of a confluence of modern and old school.
It's still just like a lot of the other places we've been. They have a ton of photo booths. They have all the cute like clothing shops and some vintage shops and stuff, and the places where you can get like the little clips for your purse, like the little plush toys.
Yeah, all the keychains. Bukchon was also kind of funny because everyone was wearing the traditional Korean outfit, the hanbok, whereas here in Ikseondong, you're not seeing too many people wearing that. So it's just kind of a different dynamic there as well.
I want to get some food, and I want to like look around at all the shops and see all the cutesy things, you know?
Easy to be a shopaholic here. Maybe come with like a half-empty suitcase, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, give me a quick turn. There you go. I'm gonna shut up.
100년 된 기와지붕 아래에서 파스타를 파는 나라. 외국인들이 한국을 두고 과거와 현재가 한 골목에 같이 산다고 말하는 이유가 바로 여기에 있습니다. 그리고 이 골목에서 두 사람은 이름만 들어도 어리둥절해지는 음식 하나를 주문하게 됩니다.
Just sat down at Ikseon Chiyang, and I came here specifically for this one dish, the pork belly rosé pasta. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds made up, honestly. What is a rosé pasta to begin with? And the fact that they're throwing pork belly on this thing, they're famous for their steak. It's aged for 24 hours and then sous vide for 12. And it just looks like perfectly cooked. Look how pink the inside is. All right, let's give this pork belly a go. Oh my gosh. Fatty, crispy around the edge, juicy. This is a winning dish. Very odd combination, but it works.
24시간 숙성한 뒤 다시 12시간 저온 조리한 고기를 파스타 위에 올리는 집. 이런 조합이 동네 골목 식당에서 나온다는 것 자체가 낯선 일이었습니다. 배를 채운 두 사람은 편의점에 들러 카드 한 장을 삽니다. 그리고 이 카드 한 장이 남은 일정을 완전히 바꿔놓습니다.
Alright, so this is a little egg bread. It basically has an egg on top, and underneath is a slightly sweet cornbread. I totally was not expecting that when we first tried this. It's so good. And then we got some of these fish. I don't know exactly what they are. They look like maybe they were kind of like pancake batter, and then they have all different types of fillings. This one, I'm pretty certain it's red bean. Crispy on the outside. It's warm, gooey on the inside.
편의점에서 산 카드 한 장으로 지하철도, 버스도, 심지어 편의점 계산까지 전부 해결됩니다. 미국의 대도시들은 지금도 도시마다 교통카드가 제각각이고 종이 티켓을 파는 곳도 남아있죠. 그렇게 지하철을 타고 두 사람이 도착한 곳은
I will say the public transport here is really, really good. Super clean, super efficient. You can get to like anywhere in Seoul, which is really important because Seoul is so spread out. However, it's not always the easiest for us to figure out. Sometimes it's hard for us to know exactly where we're going.
And the underground portions, sometimes they're like mazes where like you have to actually walk the ways to get to where you need to go underground.
Yeah.
Seoul is very spread out, so you're gonna be walking a lot.
나단이 이번 여행에서 가장 기다렸다고 말한 장소였습니다. 아침을 통째로 굶고 찾아간 곳, 광장시장이었습니다.
I've been waiting for this probably the most of anything.
We made it to the
Gwangjang Market.
yes.
I would put it as like top 3 things to do in Seoul. I'm so hungry right now. I've literally fasted all morning so I could just
Eat everything.
to my heart's content here. I'm gonna try like probably 10 things at least.
Let's do it. Oh, Nathan's made it in line. Oh, and I'm stuck. Oh. He's made it to the Netflix lady. Looks like she's making some noodles. Yeah, okay, we got in. That's cool.
It's gonna be a tight squeeze. I'll put the backpack on the ground. Here we go.
Okay. Got us
Oh my
started.
gosh, I'm psyched right now. I am psyching hard.
Moving. Got us started with some kimchi.
Yes. Alright, we've ordered 2 dishes here. One is their signature dish. These are the knife-cut noodles. This is what she's really famous for. But I also had to get some of these like spicy cold noodles. I'm a sucker for anything that's spicy and cold in temperature, which is kind of a strange combination, kind of like kimchi, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it, and I've heard this is also one of their top sellers, so we got one of each.
넷플릭스 다큐멘터리에 소개되면서 이제는 외국인이 더 길게 줄을 서는 칼국수집. 손으로 썰어낸 면발 앞에서 두 사람은 한동안 말을 잃습니다.
Dude, the texture of these noodles, it's got like the perfect amount of chew, like a little bit of a bite, and they got these little dumplings inside.
This is loaded with gochujang. The metal chopsticks are a little bit of interesting to get used to.
Only in Korea.
Oh, dude. So many options.
I think it's time for a sweet.
그런데 이날 광장시장에서 이들이 가장 크게 놀란 건 음식 맛이 아니었습니다. 한국인이라면 아무도 신경 쓰지 않고 지나쳤을 아주 작은 물건 하나였습니다.
Hello! 안녕하세요!
감사합니다. I think we're gonna definitely overdo it today in calories for sure.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
Dude, this donut is fresh. It is literally gooey on the inside. and they dipped it in that cinnamon sugar, and it is hot to the touch. See the sugar on the lips? That's what you want. Koreans are ahead of the game. Whenever you're eating something that could make your hands dirty, they give you a cup, a little paper cup to hold it. Genius.
손에 기름이 묻을 만한 음식을 건넬 때 한국의 노점상들은 아무 말 없이 종이컵을 하나같이 내밉니다. 그런데 이 장면 앞에서 미국인 남편의 입에서는 한국인들은 한 수 앞서 있다는 말이 나왔습니다. 천재적이라는 단어까지 붙였죠. 우리가 당연하게 여기는 배려 하나가 지구 반대편에서 온 사람에게는 감탄의 대상이었던 겁니다.
Looking pretty good. They're making it right there. Look at it, like right in our faces.
It looks greasy, dude.
I can feel the heat on the left side of my face. Man, it's heavy. It's hard to carry with chopsticks.
That's a dense cake.
Here we go.
그리고 두 사람의 시장 순례는 아직 절반도 지나지 않았습니다.
Oh yeah. The exterior is like a really crispy hash brown, but then the inside it's like really soft and more like a nice soft potato inside, but it's mung bean, I guess. I'm not used to this flavor. And then I think there's kind of some like onion type things. I'm not quite sure, but I love the crunch as soon as you break that surface. Oh yeah. All right, dude, that one's bubbling, dude. We're here for some tteokbokki. I love tteokbokki.
Yeah.
So good. I think I'm gonna get some blood sausage too.
Oh, the thing next to your head?
Yeah, I've been wanting to have some. Want anything else? You want any of these? I'll try it. I gotta try it too. I'll let it feel.
Okay.
One. Tteokbokki one. All right, we got our. I believe that's blood sausage with like rice inside.
쫄깃한 떡, 뜨거운 어묵 국물, 그리고 태어나서 처음 보는 순대까지 배가 부를 대로 부른 두 사람은 그래도 하나를 더 집어듭니다.
This is the sausage, and then this one is the tteokbokki.
Yeah, I wanted to try, like I've had tteokbokki many times, but I've wanted to try like the thicker ones. These ones are girthy, man. Expecting some serious chew on this. Oh yeah. I love gochujang. I feel like if you're like a young kid, there's serious choking hazard. Like for real.
This sweet's a little dangerous, okay?
You gotta like take mini bites. Baby got back, dude. Boing, boing, boing. I guess it's like some kind of salt. Oh my.
What does it taste like?
Amazing. It doesn't taste like blood or anything weird. It just tastes like, it's almost like a bouncy, spongy, smoky flavor to it. A little bit smoky, a little bit spicy, but in like a paprika-like spice, not the typical Korean spicy thing. And you get to chew from the rice, but it's not regular rice. It's like bouncy rice. It's like little pieces of mochi rice almost. Do a mix, okay?
Oh,
Six?
mix, okay.
Six.
Okay.
Just only custard and red bean paste.
Okay, three and three.
Three and three.
Okay. 감사합니다.
Okay.
감사합니다.
All right, we are trying hodu gwaja, which is basically they're walnut cookies, from what I understand. And we got to mix some red bean ones and some custard-filled ones. Oh my god.
Is it so good? It's like a little pastry.
There's a whole walnut on the inside, intact, like it's not broken into pieces. Light, fluffy, sweet but not too sweet, almost like a soft cornbread. Maybe soft cornbread, but I think we should go get a coffee right now because it would pair really well. Ah, look at that. It looks beautiful.
Ooh. First sip bliss.
Hell yeah. These guys are Korea coffee roasting champions. I can see it. I can see why. So we needed a place.
호두가 통째로 깨지지 않은 채 들어있는 작은 과자. 그렇게 배가 터질 지경이 된 두 사람은 시장에서 50m쯤 떨어진 곳으로 걸어 나옵니다. 도심 한복판을 조용히 흐르는 물길, 청계천이었습니다. 그리고 그 물가에 앉아 두 사람은 몇 주 동안 서울을 겪으며 쌓아온 생각을 처음으로 꺼내놓습니다. 이번 여행에서 가장 중요한 말이 나오는 순간이었습니다.
To digest and recuperate from our first round at Gwangjang Market, and we just walked 50 yards away from the market to Cheon Stream, something like that. I'm gonna butcher the name. Get to see a fish. I'm hoping to see a fish. Haven't seen one yet. I've seen two ducks though. But everyone seems to like chill here, chat with friends, have a coffee, picnic. Some people are jogging, but right now we can't even move, so we're just gonna sit down here and take our break before we head back in there.
So one thing that's blowing me away about Seoul is how clean and organized they are with like everything, from public transportation to just being in the market, all the stores that you go into, the streets. I just feel like they have such a high standard with doing things well. I started to catch myself feeling like if I buy a product, whether it's skincare or like clothing or something of tech, if it's made in Korea, I will probably trust it more because I know how much pride they take in doing things well. I understand now why. So this is what 11 o'clock on a Friday looks like. And yeah, a lot of people out. A lot of alcohol being consumed. So the drinking is going to continue. We just left the soju tasting, and we made friends with a couple who has invited us to go to this pub crawl. This is pub number 1. Nathan, what do you think so far about Seoul nightlife?
Honestly, the city's massive, so there's so many good spots to have a good time. I feel like every neighborhood has their own little their own bars, their own places to have a drink. Like Koreans, they're night owls. They go till 6 a.m. So I don't know if I can hang like that, but
So getting a color analysis done here in Korea has become super popular, and today I'm getting one. I'm so excited. I've always seen like on Instagram the girls getting all the color drapes like down their chest to see what it looks good on their skin color. But I'm super curious to see what she's gonna say, because with travel, my entire wardrobe is basically black or like off gray. So let's see what I could be doing better.
한국에서 만들었다는 표시가 붙어 있으면 그냥 더 믿게 된다. 서울에서 몇 주를 보낸 미국인 아내가 내린 결론이었습니다. 화장품이든 옷이든 전자제품이든 상관없이 말이죠. 그럴 만도 합니다. 2025년 한국의 화장품 수출액은 114억 달러를 기록하며 미국을 제치고 프랑스에 이어 세계 2위에 올라섰습니다. 그중 가장 많이 팔린 나라가 다름 아닌 미국이었죠. 그런데 이 부부가 신뢰의 이유로 꼽은 건 기술도 가격도 아니었습니다. 무엇 하나 대충 하지 않는 태도였습니다. 해가 지고 두 사람은 소주를 배우러 갑니다. 그리고 그날 밤 계획표 어디에도 없던 사람들을 만나게 되는데요. 낯선 외국인 부부에게 먼저 말을 걸고 자기들이 자주 가는 술집까지 데려간 한국인 커플. 예정에 전혀 없던 밤이었습니다. 그리고 여행이 끝나갈 무렵 올리비아는 요즘 한국에서 가장 인기 있다는 것을 미리 예약해 둔 상태였습니다.
And this is like, again, I'm a true traveler, meaning I need to restore some, I need to buy more makeup. Yeah. The middle one though is like exactly my color. Oh my god, wow. Basically I just learned that the color I've been using is not good, not for me.
Well, especially when you use only the,
몇 년째 써온 파운데이션이 사실은 자기 얼굴색과 맞지 않았다는 것. 올리비아는 서울에 와서야 그 사실을 알게 됐습니다. 그런데 비슷한 시기, 서울의 또 다른 매장에서 완전히 똑같은 일이 벌어지고 있었습니다. 이번에는 미국인이 아니었습니다. 헝가리에서 온 테크 전문가 팀이었죠. 유럽에서 손꼽히는 기술 리뷰어인 34살 남자와 그의 파트너 마야. 이들이 한국에 온 이유는 여행이 아니었습니다. 한국의 한 반도체 기업이 촬영을 요청했기 때문이었죠. 그런데 이 헝가리인이 서울에서 마주한 것들은 여행자의 눈으로는 보이지 않는 종류의 것들이었습니다.
Hey, I'm in Seoul, one of the most high-tech cities in the world, to check out what technology is like in everyday life here. From high-tech skin analysis to salmon sperm-derived hydration masks, all the way to robots, cars, trains, the insane Korean stock market, AI face-searching CCTV cameras, and much more, we tried them all. And since we have some local friends, we also asked them what everyday life feels like here.
세계에서 가장 하이테크한 도시, 헝가리인이 서울에 붙인 이름입니다. 그리고 기술 이야기를 하겠다던 이 사람이 가장 먼저 찾아간 곳은 의외로 피부과였습니다. 왜 하필 피부과였을까요?
When it comes to tech, but South Korea is probably the country with the most high-tech beauty industry in the world, and you cannot look anywhere in Seoul without being bombarded by ads for beauty treatments, plastic surgery, and so on. So for this reason, we'll start our exploration with some really high-tech beauty procedures. Before getting any sort of treatment, I went to a clinic to get my skin analyzed in depth. This used light with various wavelengths, as well as a special camera booth plus some software to give me an automatic analysis in an embarrassing amount of detail. Because the machine was calibrated created for Korean women, it said that my skin was equivalent to that of a 37-year-old Korean woman's, which honestly, as a 34-year-old Hungarian man, I'll actually take as a compliment. I apparently have bad pores, meaning that they're deeper than they should be at my age. I have normal wrinkles as well as good hidden wrinkles, which means that I should age slower going forward. Good to know. The results included a lot more details, but let's move on to my first treatment, a Q facial. The clinic used a special vortex suction machine, which was essentially a wet vacuum cleaner for my face, and this essentially washed and sucked things out of my pores. Once I had been fully vacuumed, they then started adding a bunch of creams and serums. These were applied using an ultrasound machine of all things, similar to what you'd use to do imaging inside your body, except this one was supposed to use sound waves to massage the products into the skin more effectively than one could do with just their fingers. And finally, I also got blasted by a giant LED wall, which I don't even know what that was for, but it felt like staring into the sun, even with my little sunglasses. Anyway, after about an hour, I was done. I only paid about 264,000 Korean won in a fairly good clinic for both the facial and the analysis, which is supposedly a really great price.
Okay, and next we are in our hotel. Welcome to Beauty Altar. We're going to be doing some high-tech skincare routine right now. So we're going to be starting with something called Riedels. These are apparently tiny little needles that are derived from something like a sponge. The point of it is that you have many, many little needles in this together with some kind of a cream, and you want to apply it so that the needles stab you in the face so that the cream can actually be absorbed by your skin better. And you dab, dab, dab. It feels prickly, yeah, depending on where I apply it. This is essentially just a kind of moisturizer, I think. So you just get a better, deeper moisturizing from this. Oh yeah. Now I can definitely feel the prickling. I'm gonna be one hell of a moisturized man. And now we'll try something called a PDRN. It's the hottest new thing in Korea and I think also everywhere around the world right now. It is something that is derived from salmon DNA, aka salmon sperm, actually. It says infused with 58% caviar water and PDRN to support skin vitality, boosting hydration and glow. So that's gonna be me. Gonna be boosted hydration and glow man. I think it's also made for Korean female faces. So I don't know if the proportions are correct. And now over the beard. Oh God. That makes 0 sense. I think the mask is starting to solidify, so actually it doesn't seem to slide off as easily. Let's see if I can put some glasses on. Does that look more ridiculous? Feels very natural. This is the future, definitely.
Okay, I'm kind of making fun of all of this, of course, but my face does feel significantly more moisturized and I guess healthier than usual, so something is definitely working.
Okay, now we're gonna go to Olive Young, the biggest beauty chain in Korea, to do a hair follicle analysis so we can see whether my scalp is doing all right or not.
We were in one of their flagship stores where they essentially pointed a camera with a macro lens at my hair, then a couple of photos were taken, and the machine automatically assessed things like my hair loss, hair density, hair thickness, the condition of my skin, etc. A very friendly employee walked me through the result by talking Korean to an iPad, which also translated everything to my iPad in English, and she then gave me the most polite roast of my scalp ever. She told me all the things that were wrong with my hair, and believe it or not, I also got a personalized hair care routine, including with suggestions for what I should buy. Because yes, the analysis is free, but of course you're supposed to go and buy products as a result. I don't know if this is placebo, but yes, we bought some rosemary shampoo and some tonic, and they do feel pretty great. But moving on from my dwindling supply of hair, last on our high-tech beauty list was actually Maya. So we got her a face color analysis. This was at a place called Laneige, and no, in case you're wondering, this was still not sponsored content. We paid for everything ourselves, but I thought it was interesting to film. Anyway, we got moved into this pretty fancy exclusive floor where we have dancing robots and a wall full of foundation bottles. Yet again, an extremely friendly employee sat Maya down in front of what this time around was a Samsung tablet, and she held up a color wheel in front of her face. The color temperature of the room and the lights in it were controlled so the tablet could take a photo and then use the color wheels as a reference to assess her exact skin tone. There were 185 tones in this shop if my count is correct, and Maya says that her pick was bang on exactly right. She's been trying and failing to manually find the exact shade for years, but this worked in just a few minutes automatically, so she was very happy. Hilariously, the dancing robot sort of orders your foundation and then places it into this spinny thing, and that it even helpfully illustrates that it's waiting for the mixing to complete. Could you have done all of this without a dancing robot? I think so, but obviously all of this is a show and you're just supposed to be delighted by it. Anyway, the foundation cost Maya about $30, which she tells me isn't even particularly expensive for good foundation, and it definitely did not pay for the almost hour-long custom experience that we had. In other words, this analysis is of course designed to get you hooked, and it also acts as a marketing tool, which given that I filmed it for them for free, I guess it worked. Now overall, we had a lot of fun with the beauty stuff in Seoul.
185가지 색조 중에서 자기 피부에 맞는 단 하나를 몇 분 만에 찾아냅니다. 몇 년 동안 직접 찾으려다 계속 실패했던 색이었죠. 그런데 이 헝가리인이 서울에서 정말 하고 싶었던 이야기는 따로 있었습니다.
Talk about robots, AI, and automated experiences next. Seoul has a pretty high degree of automation in everyday life in general, and both Korean companies and the government are extremely on board with both AI and robots. As soon as we landed on the airport, for example, we were greeted with one of these robots roaming around, including by one that was just casually saying that it was going to work. Alright, good luck with that. Meanwhile, this one we could actually interact with, and while I guess it was mostly designed to show you flight details or whatever, you could actually use it to take a photo as well. Not only that, you could then use AI to turn you into an airport character, such as an air traffic controller. And for me, that looked like this.
That does not look like me at all. I mean, okay, like a little bit, but I have like Korean hair.
Similarly, in the city, we also found this. This was called an AI tourism hardware platform, and then at some point, the girl pointed to the camera and told us to take a photo. So it's an AI photo booth from the city government, and I originally thought it would turn me into a dragon boy or something, but the results were even better than I could have imagined.
공항에 내리자마자 로봇이 돌아다니고 그중 하나는 이제 일하러 간다는 말을 남기고 사라집니다.
Yes, this is definitely what the future feels like. Anyway, robot cafes are pretty common in Seoul as well, especially in the busy downtown districts, and these are often marketed as being 24/7. You come in and you order from a tablet, the whole store is of course full of CCTV cameras, and the robot makes you your drink. The drink gets placed like this so you know which one is yours, and surprisingly, this coffee lounge actually had one of the best coffees that I had in Korea, which is not exactly what I expected. Of course, humans will still periodically come and stock things up, for example, as well as clean things, but no employees were actually present when we were in the store. Now, having 24/7 cafes everywhere sounds like fun until you realize that it's also a reminder that Koreans generally work insanely long hours, so maybe there's a darker undertone to this as well. Anyway, we saw plenty of other more niche robots like this one in a restaurant that was moving trays between the kitchen and tables, plus almost every small store, cafe, and restaurant that we saw had these automatic ordering tablets, so you actually have very little interaction with humans in service. In fact, fully automated grocery stores are now being rolled out as well, like this one called Oasis that apparently just opened. This is a store that only features self-checkout lanes, and the only employee that was present in the store was helping customers get used to the newly opened system. The sign promises that what else but AI is used to achieve a 99.99% accuracy at the checkout, though I wonder why that is even needed given that barcodes exist. Anyway, there are of course CCTV cameras everywhere in the store.
24시간 돌아가는 무인 카페에서 로봇이 내려준 커피가 한국에서 마신 것 중 가장 맛있었다는 평가를 받습니다. 그런데 이 헝가리인을 서울에서 가장 먼저 놀라게 한 건 로봇이 아니었습니다.
Every single day, we got multiple of these emergency notifications to our phones that reported on missing person cases in our area. Usually, I only see stuff like earthquake warnings or missile warnings using this system, but here you get notified when somebody around you is being looked for. And once you click through, you can actually see a database of photos where CCTV cameras have most recently identified the people near you, as well as some success stories of people actually being found. The government proudly talks about a massive AI CCTV face search network, and that is not something that I've seen anywhere else before. But okay, let's move on and let's start talking about transportation. We actually took a taxi from the middle of the country from our previous SK Hynix shoot over to Seoul, which meant that surprisingly, we arrived to Seoul via highway. Right away, we were stuck in traffic most of the way, but an express bus lane ran all the way next to us that really caught my eye, as this saw a ton of buses zipping by next to the traffic jam. Once arriving to the city, I also saw a huge bus rapid transit network with express center lanes in just about every major road. These were in addition to the non-express lanes on the side, and just the sheer number of buses everywhere kept blowing my mind. I think buses are not like the most exciting technology in the world to most people, and I certainly didn't expect these to be the first things that really stood out to me in the city, but they absolutely were. Overall, I think Seoul and the highways that are feeding into it had the most comprehensive bus network that I've ever seen in a city, and it even made some of the Chinese networks that I've seen pale in comparison. Unsurprisingly, buses seem very popular as a result. I rode them a few times and found them to be generally nice, though if you pick one that doesn't run in an express lane, you will still, of course, get stuck in traffic. One downside to this network is that electrification is still fairly rare, with only about 10% of the buses that I've seen being electric, but meanwhile the upside is that some of the older models still have this hilarious door design. I've never seen anything like it before. It's just one massive sliding door on a bus. That is neat. Now among
자기가 본 도시 중 가장 촘촘한 버스 네트워크였다. 중국의 도시들조차 비교가 안 될 정도였다. 헝가리인의 평가입니다. 세계 여러 도시의 교통을 직접 취재해 온 사람이 내린 결론이라 무게가 다르죠. 그런데 이 사람이 서울에서 정말로 무너진 건 도로 위가 아니라 그 아래였습니다.
transit enthusiasts, aka nerds like myself, Seoul is pretty well known for its incredible metro and train network, and seeing this in person, I have to say, was even more impressive than I imagined. To begin with, you have all the usual stuff that you would expect from a really good East Asian metro system. There are modern, clean trains that run on time, there are great stations with AC and platform screen doors, there are excellent wayfinding systems, etc. But on top of these, there are also a few clear highlights. First, let's start with some of the fun, small stuff. In some stations, when you enter, you have floors with these metallic balls. Can you guess what they're for? Well, they're for vacuuming your shoes. The balls kind of squeeze out the dirt that is collected in your shoes, and then they recess into the metal plate under which is actually a vacuum that sucks up the dirt off to the side. Pretty fun. Next, I love that many fare gates are actually open by default and only close when there's a problem. That's great. Also fun is how there's always a little jingle that tells you which direction the train is going into. It's a brilliantly easy but useful thing. And another thing that I found extremely practical is that everything, and I mean everything, is clearly and visibly numbered. Every train, every door, and every exit, so it becomes super easy to actually meet someone, or a mapping app can also tell you which door you actually have to get onto for the easiest transfer. And talking of maps, last on my kinda small fun list is that the Korean one will also have little animated trains that move in real time. This is just really cute. So that's a lot of small quality of life stuff.
역 입구 바닥에 박혀있는 쇠구슬. 평소에는 열려있다가 문제가 있을 때만 닫히는 개찰구. 방향을 알려주는 짧은 멜로디. 그리고 모든 열차와 문과 출구에 붙어있는 번호까지. 그런데 진짜 충격은 노선도를 펼친 순간에 찾아왔습니다.
But the real big deal here is, of course, how incredibly impressive the network itself is.
So here you can see the scale of the metro map, and actually this is still trimmed, but this is basically Seoul, and it goes all the way out. You can see how many trains and how many lines there are all the way out. And if you go here, you can actually see that the line continues, it's just not on a map. It's crazy how big all of this is.
It's hard to say how many stations the network even has, because the lines don't actually end in the city of Seoul at all. Some of these lines, like actual metro lines, don't just cross the city, they also go all the way to neighboring cities, like actual separate cities connected by metro. Take the insane Line 1, for example. This has over 100 stations, and by my estimate, it should be something like 150 kilometers long. If you look at a map, you can see that it connects 3 different cities through Seoul. Inside Seoul, all of this just feels like a regular metro, but then it also works as a decently fast train between cities once you go further. We actually decided to check out Incheon, another city to the west of Seoul, and while we traveled over an hour to get there, we never actually had to leave the metro system. Having cities connected by metro, where the train comes every 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, is, in my opinion, legitimately a mind-altering experience. I somehow didn't even consider that this was an option. Another thing that I found very impressive is that a few lines, such as the one that runs to the airport, actually run 2 types of trains in parallel. One that stops at each stop, and an express line that just doesn't. That's brilliant. Oh, and of course, this incredible metro network is in addition to the very large and very well-developed network of actual trains and high-speed trains, which travel at something like 300 kilometers an hour for when you want to go further. And as a cherry on top, the airport even features a maglev line, so one that should levitate using magnets, though that was sadly not running when I was there. Overall, I found the public transportation system of Seoul incredibly impressive, but let's move on to talking about cars next. Here, there were 3 main things that stood out to me: the brands, the propulsion types, and the license plates. Let's start with the plates, and specifically with the colors. White is the default color, yellow is what commercial cars, such as taxis, use, but then neon green is for cars that are worth roughly $60,000 and above. Why? Well, officially, to fight tax evasion. Apparently, more than 70% of the luxury cars before the green plate ruling were bought as company cars, but then they're often used as private vehicles, which of course is tax fraud. By highlighting these with neon green signs, supposedly people should feel bad about driving these into places that are obviously not places of business. I don't actually understand why that would work, but the FT says that sales of Bentleys dropped 77%, Rolls-Royces dropped 35%, and Porsches dropped 23% right after the ruling, so I guess, weirdly enough, there should be some impact. Anyway, blue plates mostly signify EVs, and these are a medium success in Korea. According to the statistics I could find, they make up about 28% of sales in Korea right now, which puts the country way ahead of the US and slightly ahead of the EU overall, but well behind China, for example. Both the local brands and also Tesla are quite popular in the country in terms of EVs, and interestingly, the ratio of electric vans I saw was actually even higher than that of electric cars. Still, one of the blue plate fun facts that I was not expecting to see here is that I've actually seen a few fuel cell cars and even buses here. Fuel cell is the fancy name for essentially hydrogen, and while these are a tiny minority, making up less than 1% of the market, Korea is one of the only places in the world next to Japan that took their development somewhat seriously. Anyway, moving on, the second most obvious thing that you'll notice is just how dominant local brands like Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis are. In the city, I would say they make up about 60% of the cars on the road that I saw, while on the countryside, the ratios I saw were even higher. It is pretty common to look at a busy street and to literally only see domestic models. Interestingly, I only spotted a single Chinese car during my whole trip, which I barely managed to capture on camera. Most of the foreign models that I saw were generally German, or perhaps American, and they also tended to be on the more expensive side, so I assume these are often status symbols. This domestic dominance partially comes from Koreans having a preference for their own brands, which, to be fair, often make pretty good cars, but it also comes partially from Korea historically being extremely protectionist about their car industry. First, biking in Seoul seems to be on the rise, with some pretty cool new lanes being built now.
그리고 한참 도로를 바라보던 헝가리인이 이상한 점을 하나 발견합니다. 도로 위 차량의 60% 가까이가 국산차. 지방으로 내려가면 그 비율은 더 올라갑니다. 번화가를 봐도 국산 모델만 보이는 게 흔한 일이라는 표현이 나오는데요. 유럽에서는 상상하기 어려운 풍경입니다. 독일 도로에서 독일 차만 보이지는 않으니까요. 그리고 서울을 떠나기 전 이 헝가리인이 마지막으로 카메라에 담은 것들이 있습니다. 아주 사소한 것들이었습니다.
Next, in a few places, Seoul had these little air-conditioned shelters that almost look like a bus station, except you can just hang out in them for free. It's a pretty good way to escape the heat or the rain, I guess. I do wonder how cities like these manage to avoid homeless people taking these over, but maybe that's a discussion for another video. Anyway, if you ever want to cross a street in Seoul, you might occasionally find one of these traffic lights that are integrated into the sidewalk, and these allow people to keep looking at their phones while they're waiting. Nice. And another awesome design while crossing a street is that you might find yourself under one of these many parasols that are placed so you can wait in the shade. That's a pretty good idea.
공짜로 들어가서 더위를 피할 수 있는 에어컨 쉼터, 휴대폰을 보면서 기다려도 되도록 바닥에 심어놓은 신호등, 그리고 횡단보도 앞에 세워둔 그늘막 파라솔. 우리가 이름조차 붙여주지 않은 것들입니다. 미국인 부부는 종이컵 하나를 보고 천재적이라고 했습니다. 헝가리인은 노선도 한 장을 보고 인식이 바뀌었다고 했고요. 관심사도, 국적도, 여행의 목적도 전부 달랐던 두 팀이 서울에서 발견한 건 결국 같은 것이었습니다. 누가 시키지 않아도 조금 더 낫게 만들어두는 습관. 그게 이 나라에 쌓이고 쌓여서 지금의 서울이 된 겁니다. 내일 아침 신호등 앞에 서시거든 잠깐만 발밑을 봐주세요. 거기 바닥에 불이 들어와 있을 겁니다. 누군가는 그걸 보겠다고 지구 반대편에서 날아옵니다.
If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want the yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the